I don't know why there is this stuff. Well, we do know that it's a normal physics entity, right? So what we do is normal physics entity, but we add the user interactable property and have a pointer, and that's called UI entity. How's that? And here we do UI entity. Seems like we could just do that cast right here. Yeah, I think we should just do that. Right? That should work. Let me check. Yeah, they're just doing the explicit cast. So there's no reason we couldn't just do that inline. Like so. Yeah. Let's see if that builds. I bet it builds. Yeah, and that took care of the touches began. Okay, so originally we had this error. Touches began in built entity. And the one we just built, that's now gone. Line 50 also has something scary looking. So this, well, let's do this stuff. This first, because this seems like it's used in a bunch of places. It is a little messy. And yeah, you could clean things up a bit, especially when they're used 2 times. You could also just make the no. I was going to say I could just have the vector be full of only user interactable objects, but that's not what we want. We want to allow the non-interactable ones too, just in case they don't respond to touch. Alright, so that fixes all of those. Let me build, because that was a lot of copying and pasting. And the build failed, so it's a good thing we built. Where did the build fail? It fails at line 147, which is right about here. And we probably just deleted too much stuff. Yep. So we wanted that. And let me build again. Probably build fine this time. But we still have to deal with this error. I mean this other warning in built entity. Incompatible pointer types. So this is also line 50. Mic entity. Yeah, we need the explicit cast here. We've checked the type, so we can return mic entity with a static cast, explicit cast. Yeah. So maybe that fixes that one. And that is everything. And all the other warnings are very minor stuff. We could clear those out. So if I get really depressed, I will start clearing these out. It's now 10:54, so we can go on about 2 hours. Yeah, if I go whole day without fixing a bug, that really depresses me when I want to work on features especially. So luckily I saved these unused variable warnings for that rainy day. And 10:53 is really early, so let me run it now and just see what happens. We don't expect any improvement. We shouldn't expect things like that. Unreasonable expectations will just make you want to give up too early. So I'll keep talking, and I expect stuff to keep going. You know, another thing I think I want to look into is the whole, you know, the big change. Stuff to keep. You know how the buffers aren't growing anymore? That's a big change. I want to look into that. I don't know, that might be related to the facts that they're all moving up now. Okay, so there was the quit. Yeah, so now I'm going to look at the... Well, we've got less warnings, and the code isn't any worse off. There aren't more crashes now. So, all in all, that was a complete waste of an hour of debugging. So why doesn't the voice entity expand anymore when it used to? Well, for that we should look in input manager? Yeah, input managers. What was it? No, I think it's mic entity. Yeah. Yeah, so the update call is pretty much where the growing happens. So if you look at update, yeah, see here, if we have a last shot entity, and we should have a last shot entity if we're adding buffers. No. Where do we take last shot entity? Yeah, so we take it in start input, and we don't release it into end input. Yeah, and we grow it in update position, so this gets called regularly in between those calls. And here we're saying we only grow the X. This is just a hard hack to do that. So I'll change this to Y and this to X and see what happens. I don't know why. I mean, even if that was X, it should be growing larger horizontally. And actually that's fine. I can leave it like that. But some change is nice, so I'll do that. The time step should still be positive. It's possible last shot entity no longer has this add size method, or it doesn't respond to it, and that would be true if we were somehow in snakeable entity there was the add size. So let's check add size, not there. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're okay. So why isn't it growing? Okay, I'm gonna also put a comment here for, I'm just gonna add debug printfs like start mic entity, and I'll put that in caps, \n, and end input end mic entity, and I'll put 2 spaces. This is a trick that you can learn from indentation in your source code file. It also works for the debugger to get that visual organization. So we're going to run this, and we're going to crash. We're not afraid of that. We are not afraid of crashing. Alright, so we're ready for the big crash. We're going to keep talking and see why. So this seems to work, but the update call isn't being called. As you see in the debugger here, it's been called in this period, but the boxes aren't growing any bigger for some weird reason. Received memory warning. Ah, okay. That's a good hint. Okay. Almost certainly now we know that we're dealing with a memory issue. Good thing we were looking at that debugger output. Okay, so let's find out what we're not releasing. Let's run it again with the whatchamacallits. The whatchamacallits, you know, the profiler. Instruments. I think we can get it. What do you think? If instruments doesn't crash, I drank this whole thing already. 652 milliliters. Alright, so yeah, let's do leaks. Let's see if that does anything besides crash this time. Okay, I'm gonna keep singing. It's actually running this time. Let's see how long it goes. So, number of mallocs. Is it crashed? Yeah, I guess it's just slow. But the number of mallocs keep growing. No? All allocations is just... You know, it just crashed, but this thing... so somehow we reached 8 megabytes. Is that the limit? No. No. Well, let's see what's going on. It doesn't track any leaks, but we could just be holding stuff in Yeah, so let's look. Responsible caller. So how can we... Yeah, call trees. This is the good stuff. Start. Main. Yeah, that one because it has more. That one because it has more. That one. That one. That one. That one. That one. Wish I could do this a little faster. Filter draw frame. So filter entity dot draw.